In this example, what we're trying to do, we are trying to demonstrate some of the library functions. We already used some of the library functions in our previous examples. For example, we have used the printf library function, which is defined in our stdio header file. We have used the scanf library functions, if scanf, if printf, if open, if close. So those are the examples of library functions, right? So if you want to use a certain library function, so the first thing what you need to do, you need to include the relevant header file at the top of your program. Then you can use any library function which is defined in that header file. Let's try to execute this program manually. So always my programs begin with the first statement in my main function. So first statement in my main function is, right now I'm declaring a variable called integer variable called a, and I'm assigning value 10 to that variable. If you look at the program memory after execution of this statement, so it is something like this. So I have a, in my main function memory, I have a variable called integer variable called a, and I have assigned the value 10 to that variable. So next, I'm planning to execute the second statement in my main function. So in that statement, I'm trying to declare a float variable called b, and I have assigned the value 3.1434 to that variable. If you look at the memory of our program after execution of the second statement, so this is something look like this, right? So this is how my program memory look like after execution of the second stated in my program. Then then my computer will try to execute the third statement. So third statement, it is a printf statement. So this is a printf is a library function which is defined in my stdio.header file. So I have called that function. So in that function, when I'm calling, I have inserted, or I have called with two arguments. So argument values will be separated for a particular function by a comma. So my first argument is the what is the text I want to display in the output stream, and the second argument is the what is the placeholder value that I have keep in my text that I am printing, right? So those two arguments I have passed to my printf function. So let's see how the execution happens when you call this printf function. So right now I'm trying to execute this printf statement in my main function. So this is a library function call. When it is called a library function, what my main function will do, it will transfer the execution control into my printf function. So if you look at the memory, it will something like this. Now it has transferred the program execution to the printf function, right? Then printf function what will do, what it will take these two arguments, that is whatever the text that you want to print and the placeholder value, then it will display that information into the output stream. So that is the task of the printf function. So after execution of that printf function, my output will be the a equal to 10. So this value will be displayed in my output stream. So when printf function completes its execution, then it will return the execution control to the next statement in my main function. So next statement is the statement. So it will return the control, and it will try to in main function, it will try to execute this statement. So when it is executing this statement, this is also a printf function call. Then I'm going to call with the text, this text, and I'm going to give the placeholder value by calling another function, right? So that means when I'm calling a printf function, inside the printf function, I'm calling another library function called absolute abs function, which will basically return us the absolute value of a given integer. So this abs library function is defined in our standard library.h header file. So let's see the execution of this program and how the memory is organized when I'm executing this program. So this is how my memory will organize. So first of all, I'm calling this printf function from my main program. So that means execution control will go to my printf function. Then when printf function, it is trying to execute the printf function, first argument is no, this text need to be displayed in the output stream. But when it is taking the placeholder value, it will call another function. It will call the abs function in the program. So it will, from the printf function, it will call the abs function. So it will call the ABS function with the A value. So A is right now containing value 10. So it will call the ABS function with the value 10. Then what ABS function will do, it will take the whatever the value that you are giving to that function, and it will return the absolute value of that value. Right? So right now we are giving the integer, positive integer 10, then it will return 10 only, because absolute value of 10 will be the 10 only. Right? So then ABS will return the 10. Right? Once ABS has returned the 10, printf function take that return value and it will put that value 10 into my output stream, and it will display this absolute value A equal to 10 printf statement or the print output in my output stream. ABS function will find the absolute value for a given integer. If you want to find the absolute value for a given floating point value, then you can use the if function, which is defined in our math.h standard library. So in this function, what basically I'm trying to do, I'm trying to find the absolute value of the B variable. So that means absolute value of the 3.1434. So let's see the execution of this statement. So I'm trying to explain the execution of this statement. So if you look at the memory of this execution, so this is how the memory look like. So now I'm trying to print the absolute value of B, right? So absolute value of B. So it will display this information, and how it will get this value, by calling the if function. So from the printf function, it will call the if function with the value 3.1434. Then if function will return the 3.14 to my printf function. Then printf function will take that value and it will put that value into the placeholder, and it will display this output. So once printf function complete this displaying this output, what it will do, it will return the execution control to the next statement in the main function. So next statement in the main function, it will return the execution control to the next statement in the main function. In the next statement, what we are trying to do, we are trying to print the square root of the A. So square root of the 10. So let's try to see the execution of that statement. So when we are trying to execute the square root of A, so this printf function, so we are calling the printf function from the main function. Then printf function it will display the square root of A, and it will looking for long float value, right? Then the next value will be in order to get that value, I have to call the square root function. That means from the printf function, I need to call the square root function with the value A value. So I'm calling the square root function. You can see I'm calling the square root function with the A value. So with the A variable, so that means from the printf function, I'm calling the square root function with the A value. That means A value means 10. So I'm calling the square root function with the 10. So what the square root function will do, it will take the whatever the value that you are passing to that function, and it will produce the square root of that value. So square root of 10, it has produced the answer 3.14162,278. So it will return that value to the printf function. Then what the printf function will do, square root function will return the 3.1162268 to this place. So that means printf function will take that value and it will display that value into the output stream, right? So that value into the output stream. So this is how that output will be given from the printf statement. Once printf statement complete this output, so what is my program printf function will do? Printf function will give the return execution control to the next statement in my main function. So next statement in my main function is I'm trying to printf the sign value of the radius 45, right? So all the execution will has the same pattern. So I'm not going to explain those functions. The next library function, it will calculate the power of the given number. So this will be the base of the number, and this will be the power of the number. So this function will calculate, in this case, 5 to the power 3. So that this will result the 125 as the answer. This is another library function. It will find the ceil of a given number. Ceil means it will find, if you give it a number, ceil function will find the smallest integer which is greater than to this number. So it will find the smallest integer which is greater than to this number. That is the ceil. It will find the upper integer of that given number. On the other hand, we have the flow function, that is also a library function which is defined in our math.library header file, right? So this is the flow function. It will find the largest integer which is below this number. So that means it is a find the integer which is lower than this number, right? If you enter the b value 3.14, the seal will be the smallest integer upper than b value. Smallest integer upper than b value will be the, that is 4, right? Smallest integer. So you can find many integers, but smallest integer upper than the b value will be 4. Seal will return the 4 in this case. Flow will return the, in this case, 3, because that is the largest integer lower than b value. Largest integer lower than b value. Right? So the flow function will return the value 3. Right? So in here, if you log function will return the natural logarithm, that means log to the log e value, right? Log function will return the log e value. Then log 10 function will return the logarithm of base 10, right? So those are the some of the example functions that you can use. Most of these seal, flow, log 10, power, sine, square root, f functions are defined in math.h header file. Absolute value function is defined in our standard library.h header file. So here's are the some of the library functions that you can use in your program, right? So let's see the execution of this program. So I'm going to compile my first program, and let's see the output of this program. So you can see the output of this program. It's printing in the first statement, it's printing the value of A. The second statement, it printing the absolute value of A. Third printf statement, it will print the absolute value of B, same number. Fourth statement, it will display the square root of A, that is square root of 10 is equal to 3.162278. Then it will display the sine value of radius 45, that is 0.850904. Then power function will calculate the 5 to the power 3, that is equal to 125. Then seal function will calculate the seal value of the B. B value is right now 3.14. Seal will be the smallest integer which is greater than the B value, right? So seal will give us the value 4. Flow will give us the value 3. Log to E100 will give us the 4.65, 4.605170. Log base 10 value give us a 2. Likewise, you can use any of these library functions. So I hope you all know how to use a library function. The main thing that you need to do in order to use a library function, you first include the relevant library header file into your program, right? Library functions also refer as built-in functions or predefined functions, right? So in next example, we will look at the void functions. That is the first type of the user-defined functions.